Republican presidential candidate Chris Christie brutally debunks an eternally recurring MAGA talking point about Donald Trump and Russia during a Fox propaganda interview with Piers Morgan. Intrigued? Then click that like, subscribe, and the alert bell, and enjoy the video. I'm not sure it's spiritually possible to root for anyone in the Republican primary, but if I had to choose a candidate, it would be Chris Christie. The former New Jersey governor, he's taking the posture of basically being Trump's antagonist in this primary field because none of the others, including Trump's next best rival in terms of popularity, Ron DeSantis, who, by the way, his popularity is waning immensely, none of the others will take a clear shot at Donald Trump rhetorically or verbally. At best, they'll do it in the most roundabout ways. Chris Christie, on the other hand, is bringing those boisterous New Jersey sensibilities, some of that Yankee, swagger to the field. Now, it's not winning him much, right? He's not like jumping up in the polls or anything. Now, I do believe that he recently achieved enough donations that he will be in the first primary debate, which I believe is going to be hosted on Fox News. I'm pretty sure that that's the case. But obviously, he stands really no chance of defeating Donald Trump in the Republican primary because, of course, even though he'll tell you, like, listen, other successful nominees, particularly in the Democratic Party, but even in the Republican Party in the past, they've been long shot candidates. He pointed out that President Obama, when he was running against Secretary Clinton or then Senator Clinton in 2008, that he wasn't polling very well at first, and then Donald Trump himself in 2015, 2016 was polling pretty poorly, and both of those candidates ended up winning the nomination. Of course, the difference is particularly with Trump is now the Republican Party has become a cult of personality, a fascistic cult of personality around Trump, right? It's nowhere near as rational as it used to be, if it was ever rational in the first place. It wasn't. But basically, Chris Christie has an even greater uphill battle. Having said that, he uses every media opportunity on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, ABC, all the major networks to take shots at Trump, which is a good thing. It's good for the country. It's good, I think, probably cathartically. And I would say it's also good as far as a distinguishing factor, right? I mean, it'll make him kind of memorable. But in this exchange on the Fox Propaganda Network, where he's being interviewed by Piers Morgan, the reason I want to draw a particular attention to this clip is he debunks a very specific claim that is often made about Donald Trump and Russia and Ukraine and Joe Biden, basically a differentiating factor for Donald Trump compared to Joe Biden in terms of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So let's play the clip and then we'll unpack it.
Back at you. Yeah, because I agree with you broadly about Ukraine. But under Donald Trump's 4-year presidency, America never went to war anywhere. And none of these dictators, whether it was Putin, Kim Jong-un, any of them, pulled any stunts while he was president, as he keeps saying, but it's a fact. They didn't. Was there a bit of method to Trump's madness in the way he dealt with these people, and that people thought it was crazy, but actually maybe the unpredictability of Trump kept people like Putin and Kim Jong-un in their boxes?
Look, I don't think by calling Kim Jong-un a great guy, he stopped him from continuing to develop missile technology that now allows those missiles to reach the United States. That happened on Donald Trump's watch. And Putin continued to build up his military and build forces onto the border. And he doesn't answer for that either. And he doesn't answer for holding back military aid from Ukraine to try to get dirt on Joe Biden. I mean, all those things are not things that send confidence to world leaders or fear in the hearts of despots. But
so that was a pretty good answer, and it's something, again, that debunks this long-standing talking point that, it's basically a counterfactual. Okay, listen. Putin invaded Ukraine. He absorbed Crimea in 2014, 2012 or 2014. And then he invaded Ukraine again when President Biden was in office. But he didn't do it when Trump was in office. So what gives? Probably it's because this is the MAGA talking point. Trump is such a strong, decisive, fearsome leader that Vladimir Putin was quaking in his boots. Doesn't seem to be likely. As Chris Christie points out, there's really a lot. There's really a lot kind of baked into this or priced into this assumption. It's predicated on false premises. So number one, Donald Trump repeatedly, publicly and privately voiced admiration and respect for Putin. right? Not an adversarial tension, right? So if you generally, as a default, if you like somebody, if you admire somebody, if you try to be in somebody's good graces, as Trump tried to with Putin constantly over his 4-year presidency, you're probably going to be more permissive of them if they do something like invade a country, right? Number one. Number two, Putin wanted Trump to win both elections. We know, based on the findings of the Mueller investigation, this is an indisputable fact that Russia made multiple aggressive concerted efforts to try to influence the 2016 presidential election in a way that would benefit Trump. That's an indisputed fact. Now, you could say that the influence didn't amount to much, but Putin did attempt it. He did attempt it. So he wanted Trump to be in office, and he did it again in 2020. His preference was for Trump to be in office. But Putin also wanted to invade Ukraine. So then the question becomes, if the two are friendly, Putin and Putin wanted Trump to win the presidency in both election cycles, and he also wanted to invade Ukraine. If he wanted to invade Ukraine and planned to invade Ukraine, which the evidence suggests he was certainly planning to do that, but he feared that Trump would stop him, why would he try to make Trump president twice? That doesn't make any sense, right? Of course not, because they're mutually exclusive. If he wants to invade Ukraine and Trump is an impediment to that, he would not want Trump to be in power to stop him from doing what he wanted to do. And Chris Christie cites other examples too. Trump's permissiveness allowed Kim Jong-un to continue to develop missile technology, long-range missile technology. Putin continued to assemble forces, build up his military, and move towards the Ukrainian border. That happened as well on Trump's watch. So it debunks this talking point that, well, if Donald Trump were president, Vladimir Putin would have never invaded. That's counterfactual. We have no evidence to believe that that's true, simply because he didn't invade when Trump was president. Maybe he wasn't ready for it. Maybe he was hoping that a Trump presidency would further weaken NATO, because Trump was verbally very hostile towards NATO, wanted to pull out of NATO. Maybe he was waiting for Trump to weaken NATO further, so NATO wouldn't be in a position to effectively back Ukraine once he invaded. All sorts of reasonable counter arguments as to why Putin didn't invade between 2017 and 2021. But we also have plenty of evidence to believe that if push came to shove, he ultimately would, because, again, he wanted to invade Ukraine, but he also wanted Trump to be president, which means he clearly didn't think that Trump would have been an obstacle. So good for Chris Christie debunking this long-standing talking point. We need more of it, and hopefully this clip will go viral.